Welcome to our podcast, Learn Biblical Greek, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast teaches you biblical Greek through a verse-by-verse study of the book of Ephesians, interjecting Greek grammar, Greek word meanings, and vital theology concepts. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey. Your study will be more effective if you use the Greek text with the Bible word codes, either on the eSword download or Bible Hub website. These links are on our podcast website at www.teliosresearch.com.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our podcast on learning biblical Greek. What a privilege to learn the scriptures in the original language as given by the Holy Spirit to the authors of the New Testament. Our opportunity to know God better by going to the original language and thus becoming even more faithful and obedient Christians in service to Him. We're in Ephesians. We're going right to the text to learn Greek, but we're also learning theology, nuances about the Greek words. Glad you're here. Remember, be patient, be persistent. We're in the middle of verse 19 of chapter 1, Paul's model prayer. Let's go to the text. Be sure and have your grammar open. We start with the word tous in the middle of the verse, T-O-U-S. So remember, this is a short word. So we're thinking it can be a conjunction, but often it's an article or a relative pronoun, starts with a T. So it's an oblique case, otherwise accusative dative or genitive. This OUS ending is the accusative plural masculine ending, and it comes in front of a participle. Okay, so in this case, it might not be translated. It gives it a little bit more of a noun character instead of a verb, but it might be translated he who, and in the participle. In this case, it's believing. He who is believing would be a decent translation. So the participle, then, these verbs can be challenging, so let's break them down. At the first of the word, we don't see the augment, that E, telling us it's a past tense indicative. And then we come to the root word, pisto, for belief. Very common word in the New Testament, to believe or to have faith. Then we have the connector to the ending, and it is an O in this case. It's an O or an E are connectors for the present and future tense, as well as the second aorist, which we haven't seen or discussed yet. Then we have the NT. That tells you it is a active, masculine, or neuter participle. Active or passive, neuter participle. And then the specifier for the ending, gender and case. That AS is the accusative plural ending for the third declension. Remember, the neuters and the masculines and the participles will take the third declension endings. Okay, so he who is believing. Kata, this is preposition. Again, almost always in the epistles, they aren't telling you exact locations or directions like going to something or in the house. They're usually abstract. So in reference to, according to, the kata can take an ending or the noun. The case ending of the following noun is a genitive or accusative. In this case, it's an accusative. But it just really means according to. That's the usual meaning. Might mean against in some cases. Sometimes you have to look at the context. And it's hard for me to perceive a difference in abstract meanings between the genitive and the accusative. So teen, again, short word with a eta end ending. This is the genitive accusative. Ergion. Cases match for the end of ergion, work, where we get the word erg in English, ergonomic. Erg is a unit of energy in physics. So they match. So this is a first declension feminine accusative singular word. 2, again, it's an article, T-O-U. The O-U ending is the genitive, masculine, singular, could be neuter. Kratos, power. This is a third declension. See, it doesn't match the OU, right? The OUS. Now, this is an unusual ending for the genitive singular third declension. Usually it's just OS. Here it's OUS. So Greek can be difficult. Kratos is the root word. So if you add the OS on Kratos, you have OS, OS. The root word, ending of the root word, and the genitive OS. Greek doesn't like that. So if you have a sigma surrounded by two vowels, it disappears. It becomes OOS. Well, it doesn't like that either. You don't see double O's in Greek. So it contracts. I don't know why I say it contracts, because it's still two letters, to OU. Okay, so you have OO will automatically go to OU. And that's how we get the OUS. This happens, but it's unusual. So not typical. Tis. So in this case, eta sigma. S is a genitive, genitive, feminine, singular. Ischus. This is its noun. So remember, the article determines the gender. So it's feminine. And the noun itself will determine the declension. So they don't match, tis and us. And that us is the genitive singular for the third declension. So the fact that they don't match tells you it's the third declension. Off toe. And here we have the OU, genitive, masculine or neuter, singular ending again. Okay, pretty straightforward. All to say, the whole verse. And what is the exceeding greatness of his power to us who believe, according to the working of his mighty power. Wow. So Paul is praying, not just for hope and for knowledge and wisdom, but also praying that we would have power as Christians, as we should pray for others. You notice the numerous words for power and energy. This is typical of Greek. It uses less often adjectives and adverbs, and will use repetition, typically with different words for emphasis, something we don't do in English. For example, that would get a grade of F on a writing project. It's okay for Greek, as are run-on sentences. Okay, thank you for joining me today. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. We get towards the end of chapter 1. Really exciting stuff. Verse 20 next time. Come back then.